Hi, Ocean View fourth graders. Do you ever get really frustrated with your art and you want to just do this? Well, I do too. So today we're going to make an Amate drawing, and we're going to take out all of our frustrations before we ever start by just crumpling up our brown paper and then carefully opening it up again and flattening it out. Every time you do this, just imagine all your mistakes, like your frustrations just going away. Let's crunch it again in a new way. Just crunch it up. And open it up again and smooth it out. Let's do it one more time. Crunch in a different way. Crunch it all up. Be careful not to rip it though. We don't want it ripped, but we do want it crunched. And then uncrunch it again. This time, smooth it out. Take a deep breath. And imagine that all your lack of drawing skills are being shooed off the paper. And all that's left is your great ability. And I know that each and every one of you is going to make a great Amate drawing. So that word Amate, it just comes from a word from an ancient language down in South America that means paper. And they invented a way to take the bark off of the trees and to boil it and make it really nice and soft and to use it like we use paper. And I don't have that kind of actual native primitive kind of paper, but I have a paper bag from the grocery store, and if we crunch it up like that and smooth it out again, it starts to be nice and soft, kind of like the paper that people used years ago to make this folk art. And there you have it. So when you've done that, crushed your paper enough and flattened it out again, take your black marker, or in my case I have a black Sharpie, either one will work, and look at your paper, and in the center draw something round, something simple to draw, like the sun or the moon or a flower, or maybe a snake that's in a circle, but it has to be round, because at the end we want to be able to look at this drawing, turning it around any side, and it will look good no matter which direction we look at it. So I'm going to draw the sun in mine because that's a nice easy thing to draw. So I'm going to start with the sun. And now, you can draw anything from nature on one side of your paper. It could be animals, or fish, or birds, or plants, or bugs, or anything that you feel like you can draw from nature. If you feel like you're not good at drawing animals or anything like that, you could make it super simple and just draw some shapes that represent things from nature. Like, for example, this one, I just drew hearts and flowers after I drew my sun everywhere around my paper. So I made it simple. But here's another one I did, which I got a little farther along on. This one I drew both the sun and the moon, and the sun side I put things I see animals in the daytime, and then some animals that you see more at night on the moon side. But it doesn't really matter which way you turn it. Didn't really finish that one all the way. Here's one I finished. And I just drew some animals and some fish and some flowers and just things that I like, hearts, things that were fun for me to draw all the way around. So let's try this a little bit. Okay, I think I'll draw fish on this one. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a fish here, because I think I can draw a fish pretty easily. You want them to be not so tiny. Draw your pictures big enough, because we're going to color them with oil pastels, and as you know, oil pastels, they're pretty fat. They're fatter than regular crayons, and so you want to have bigger spaces to draw in. Let's see, what else do I know how to draw? Oh, I was thinking about it today. How about if I want to draw like a cat or a fox? I could draw it like this. Like that. Down like that. Miss Mary, what in the world are you doing? If I give this fat curve that way, and I give this curves like that, come down, curve it up and back down that way. I give myself a prancing little cat here. Isn't that funny? That's a simple way to draw a cat. I think it needs a bigger neck though. That's one way to do it. I just figured that was a fun and easy way to draw that. But there's other ways to draw things. And you can just decide which animals or creatures or things from nature you want to draw. And as I said, if you don't feel like you can draw any of those things, let's draw a deer here. Well then, maybe you can draw hearts or very simple flower shapes, or who knows what you can draw. So what you want to do is kind of fill up with some little bit of space in between. Did I leave room for my deer? I certainly hope so. I don't want to get too close to the edge, because I want to put a border around the edge. I got pretty close to the edge there. I'm going to have to fix that. So just to go more quickly, I'm going to put some hearts in between, because I know I can draw them quickly. And they fill up the space nicely with a nice shape. And one side's done. So you want to turn your paper around, then work at the next side. And you want to be turning your paper as you're working on it. Now, I do need something over here, don't I? And I put some kind of a bird in there. I bet I can. I bet I can put a bird flying this way. Maybe a few more hearts. And turn my paper again and draw all the way around until I have filled it up to about this degree. When I'm all done, I can come around and put an edge on it. Oops, I was close there, but I can fix that. So you'll want to come around. What would you do in this case? Maybe you would just get very skinny there, or maybe you'd cut it off and come around. And you want to come around all of your drawing so that you have a border around it. Notice my border is not perfectly even. I just made it fit my picture. So when you're done putting a border around the edge and you've worked your way all around with your drawing, you get to color it with your oil pastels. So you'll color in all of the things you drew first, and then you can pick a color just one color for the background. Here I put white. You want to leave some of the paper showing through. So what I suggest when you're coloring the background is that you go close to what you drew, but not all the way up to it, so that you can move more quickly and not worry about coloring into the other thing. Having the black lines from your marker make it so that you don't have to worry about coloring exactly up to each thing, but only kind of close, but not exactly all the way up to it. And having a little bit of brown showing, and I would leave the brown edge showing too, because I think that that makes it kind of interesting to see a bit of the brown paper through. Otherwise we wouldn't have needed to work on brown paper so much, would we have? It also makes it so that you can move quickly with the background and not have to spend too much time on it. More of your coloring time will be spent on your creatures. So you just come and do that. And this is just such a fun thing. When you're done with it, it shouldn't really matter which way you look at it. Kind of like a rug. If you have a rug on your floor, does it matter which way it goes? Most of them do not. So even if you have a design on it, it often doesn't matter which way you are looking at it. So this should look just as nice from any angle, because we've turned the paper as we're drawing it and going around and around. So those are the things to remember. Once again, you're going to crush your paper at least 3 times and flatten it. You're going to use your black marker to draw something round from nature right in the middle, like the sun or the moon or a flower. Then use your black marker to draw things from nature, like animals or fish or plants or birds. And if you don't feel confident drawing those kinds of things, you could just draw things like flowers or hearts. And then when you're all done drawing those, put a border near the edges of your paper. Leave some of the brown paper show at the very edge. And your border can change thickness as it goes around to fit your drawing. Then color in with oil pastels and color in your background too, but you don't have to go all the way up into what you have drawn. Just go kind of close. So if you like the way your Amate drawing turns out, please send me a picture of it. I'd love to see it. You can send it to Ms. Mary at mernst@ausdk12.org. You know, I did this same project. If you have younger brothers and sisters in 1st and 2nd grade, I did this with them earlier in the year, and they really did a great job. But I'm kind of hoping to see what kind of work a 4th grader will do with this project. So let me know what you do and how much you like it. Okay, see you soon. Bye-bye.